Hey, it's Kyle here with another episode of K&Ks Indie Gaming Corner. That's right, I nailed the title on the first try. How do you like them apples, Karen?
They taste mighty good, I guess. Oh, gosh.
I've got, obviously, my trusty co-host here, Carrington, and with us, we've got one of the greatest chefs known to mankind,
Holy
aside
cow.
from the Papa of chefs, otherwise known as Papa John, the best chef ever. We have got Phil, the chef, with us.
Jeez, I am so honored to be here. I don't think I've been here since you guys were the realest dudes I knew.
I think that's true.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe it's been a while.
It's been a while.
Which is funny because some of the games that we're going to discuss tonight, and I think a few of the games that we've reviewed in the past have all been recommendations from you.
Yes.
Huh. Funny how that works.
Yeah. So, yeah. But yeah, it's been a pleasure having you on, and been really enjoying this little podcast you do. I don't know if you want to do a little shout out for this one podcast. It's about video games. You guys talk about things, and this guy on there also makes you play really bad games on the eShop.
I love that guy. He's great. Guy's got a sense of humor like no other. Talking about my friend Mike. You guys are obviously referring to the Gamerheads podcast, which I have most recently claimed to be president and CEO of for the grand whopping total of 100 Venmo dollars. I don't think Roger's fully of acceptance that I have taken over this role, but I will be hosting a State of the Union address in our first issue or episode of January. And I have got a lot of notes on what I'm going to say.
Okay.
I don't take notes on anything, so it's all going to come right from where everything else does.
you're
Straight from the soul and straight from the heart, like every other word that comes out of my mouth.
You're just gonna vomit all those words up.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, easy with the Jedi mind tricks in your camera, please.
I can't. I'm like a bobblehead, man. I can't help it. I can turn the camera off.
No, but so this week, we are getting into at least two games, and we'll briefly touch on the Nintendo Direct that happened earlier, and then maybe we'll throw in a little just open discussion on a certain topic.
You guys love Nintendo, don't you? Why am I here?
All right, this is it. We'll let Phil go, and there you go. But no, so I get a text message from you probably once every other week about different games to play, and recently you had suggested a game called Beacon Pines, and then you talked about it a couple weeks ago on Gamerheads podcast. I've been trying to do a let's play on YouTube, but to do an episode a week for me is like pulling teeth, and I need to get it done. So I put in about 2 more hours today. Pulled? Yes, I've had a lot of teeth pulled. That's a story for another podcast.
That's what you used to do when I first met you.
Yeah.
That'll be on Tooth Pullers Weekly. It's even worse because now you guys just can't try to pretend like I'm not in the chat. I'm sitting here face to face with you, and you have to deal with this.
Calling out stupid comments now. Now I can't even think about this. But Beacon Pines is a game that is developed by Hiding Spot Games, and it is a little story adventure game that gets way darker than I had expected it.
Really?
Phil, very much so. Very much. And I haven't even finished it yet, but I am a good chunk into the game. Phil, what drew you to this game? And I want to know, like, what was the thing that pulled you in, and what was your initial thoughts? I think when you hit the very first big turning point in the game.
First and foremost, what drew me into the game was that it was free on Game Pass. Stemming off of that, though, I glanced at it, excuse me, and the animation and art style looked like something that I would thoroughly enjoy, which I definitely did. And then I started to kind of read like the description just on Game Pass about it, and it seemed to hit a bunch of notes that I wanted to that I enjoy. It is kind of a glorified walking simulator with a nice little. I believe I called it on Gamerheads almost like a Mad Libs type of a twist, where you unlock words which then show like what your actions are of what you're doing. And so I was like, okay, I'll download it and check it out. And I want to say I beat it within about a week's worth of playing it. And for anybody who knows me, I get very distracted by games like Overwatch and MLB The Show and Fortnite and things like that I just kind of grind into when I don't want to think when I'm done with work. And this was one that I almost basically could not put down. When I hit that first plot twist, that first like big reveal, it was kind of an oh snap type of moment. And I'm going to do my best to maintain PG-13 for you guys. But
Appreciate
it's not always a possibility for me. But I did not expect it. And it describes it as being a town with a lot of secrets. And to me, when you see a bunch of cute, fuzzy woodland animals, your secret's going to be like, oh, Mrs. Jones stashed some nuts underneath the oak tree behind John's house. But it got dark and weird very fast, and it only gets darker and weirder while still keeping a very upbeat tone to it. The animation never strays, and the style never strays from being the gorgeous work of art that it is. Yeah, I don't know. I think I answered your question. Probably.
Yeah. No, very much so. The art style was the first thing that drew me in. Looking at screenshots of the game itself, and the game it is. I don't want to say it starts out lighthearted because it's and this isn't. It's like literally the first second of the game. You're sitting by your father's grave,
right?
Kind of just reminiscing about him and talking to him, talking to the gravestone, and then it just kind of gets a little more lighthearted, and then. I feel like when it's lighthearted, it's very lighthearted, and then it jumps to the extreme of being dark and like kind of messed up, while giving us a game in the style of the Goonies in a way. Yeah. I don't know. That's kind of what I've been pulling from it myself. But
are we talking about the same game here? You know, Beacon Pines with cute little furry creatures that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is wild to me. And can I just say really quick that Phil, two things. You refer to Fortnite as Fortnite, not kids game. And Mike says that you'll also get distracted by Ski Sniper.
Ski Sniper rules.
Anyways, back on the Beacon Pines.
Beacon Pines.
Or Ski Sniper.
If you can combine the two where you're sniping furry, cute little woodland animals that are mourning.
Oh, that's messed up. I don't know. So... Yeah, I feel like I am on the back half of the game, and I would like to do a full review on it. Carrington, if you've not tried this game or played it, be sure to give it a shot before it goes off of Game Pass, because this is a title that I think is one of the better known hidden gems of the games that we get this year. And there's a lot of good games that have been coming out. Definitely a lot of good AAA games, but as far as indie games, we have a plethora of indie games to play. And thanks to Phil, who really, he should be kind of a part of this podcast now because he's been referencing all these games that we've been playing. Aside from Beacon Pines,
you guys ever heard of Road 96?
Well, I was going to get into that too. Like, obviously, we discussed and reviewed it, but because of you, I think that was kind of the first game that you recommended to us this year as that we should play is Road 96. And I have not played it. I've watched Carrington play it through entirety. I've watched other streamers play it through entirety. I know. But it's another fantastic game. That I probably should play.
Yes, you should. So I've got Beacon Pines on my list. You've got Road 96 on your list. Hopefully I'll try and get it done before the end of the year. I'll try because I'm currently playing like Ghost Song, which just came out, obviously, and which we'll be talking about later today. And Persona 5 has me in its claws. Like, I cannot stop playing Persona 5.
Is it the anime game?
Yes. Okay. It is incredible.
The look of disappointment on Dad Kyle's face right there. It was just like, is that the anime game?
Is that the anime game?
It is incredible. It's probably one of the best games I've played. Like, it's on the list of top 10 right now. Like, it's that good.
Okay. I mean, I've heard nothing but good things about it, but I also heard that you have to dedicate like 100 hours
minimum
before you get through the
tutorial
prologue. Yeah.
The game, I'm like probably 20-ish, 25-ish hours in. It's still teaching me new things.
Okay. It sounds like a Japanese RPG.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. I think all the Final Fantasies have that 20-hour long tutorial that you have to go through before you fight not the first boss.
And then you feel like you hit the end credits, but it's just the opening
exactly.
Credits. Yeah. It's the title screen. Yeah. But yeah, you mentioned Ghost Song, and that's another Phil the Chef recommendation. And I remember seeing that during a
it was one of the indie focused like stuff, not a Nintendo Direct, but I think it was one of the indie
separate.
Yeah, like one of the.
It was on the showcase as well. I'm not super well versed in Metroidvanias. I feel you honestly like play everything and anything and get through it in a good amount of time. What's your thoughts on Ghost Song and how it fits into the Metroidvania style? I'm sure you probably haven't beat it yet.
No, I honestly haven't touched it since my initial couple of days with it. So I mean, I haven't made any progress since the last time I even talked about it on Gamerheads. And I think I'm about an hour into it or so. And it's your classic Metroidvania style game where you're defining different abilities and unlocking different abilities, but it's also got a healthy dose of dead cells to it as well, where every time you die, you've got to go back and collect your pieces parts that'll help you upgrade and turn everything into it. I think the animation is very stylish. Again, I think the music is very, very fitting for what's going on. The small chunks of story that are being told don't make any sense to me, but as I've claimed on more than one occasion, I'm not the smartest man in the entire world, which is why I play things like Overwatch and Fortnite that I don't really have to think, and it's all muscle reflexes. But the gameplay itself, I enjoy, and I like the presentation of it. There's better Metroidvania RPGs out there, but not many of them are free on Game Pass.
Right. Carrington, what's been your experience with the game so far?
So far, I've only have maybe an hour or two into it.
Okay.
My time, because I just started playing it so today's Saturday. I started playing it on Monday, and I've played it one other time since then. It's a miracle I'm still awake right now because I have been going to bed at like 8 p.m. Stupid COVID.
I said sorry.
Stupid COVID. But so far, I am liking it. I love the animation. The art style, it's fantastic. Like that's what jumped out to me immediately. I do enjoy it, and I'm with Phil on the story so far. I'm not too far into it, but it's just I can't say there is a story at the moment.
Oh, there is. It's just kind of broken up into these small little fragments that don't really make any sense. Plus, the audio clips. But you're going after the creator guy or trying to save him and your person, and he's got a giant pet cat, and story doesn't really drive me through most games anyways, so it's more about the gameplay and the aesthetics to it. Like if a good story is there, it makes it that much more enjoyable, but I can play a really, really stupid story-based game as long as the gameplay mechanics are spot on.
Like Ski Sniper.
Yeah.
Okay.
But even those mechanics suck. Sorry, Mike, but you know they do.
I'm right there with you guys. I've only put about an hour and a half into the game. I have fought a handful of enemies that have killed me. And I've upgraded myself a handful of times as well. I'm not sure what the story is in the game. I'm not that far. I do appreciate they do have voice acting in the game. And I can't get over the fact that he keeps doing his
I'm not even doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
That's the part.
You're making me sick.
It's like an FPS with me on the other end.
Honestly, the thing that appealed to me the most in the game, especially when I first saw the trailer, was the enemy style. Like it's like borderline, I don't know, like alien cyborg / kind of gory in a way too, with the way they morph and things. And I thought that the art style behind the game, the creation of the monsters in the game was very eye appealing and intriguing to me. And I wanted to know more about it. I would like to know more about the story and to dive deeper into it. And I plan on doing a deeper dive after I finish Beacon Pines, which I'm hoping to finish by tonight or tomorrow.
How many different endings do you think you've gotten in Beacon Pines so far?
There's multiple endings?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
At least 4.
Okay.
I think 4 or 5. And the furthest chapter I've gotten to is 6.
Okay. Yeah, you're getting close.
Yeah. And
sorry, I don't mean to digress from the ghost song.
No, I'm very intrigued with Beacon Pines though. And thinking about those endings for each one, the ones that I've gotten through. And there's one that was like creepy, super creepy when you're in the treehouse and you get swamped by things. So yeah, that was really unsettling and weird. But yeah, so Ghost Song.
Did you figure out how to reset the blood moon when the blood happens in Ghost Song? Because things get super tough once the moon is full or whatever.
I haven't got to that part.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know I played it for about an hour at least, and I was running all over the place, and about 10 minutes of that time was spent trying to shoot the enemy that was like the emo enemy. And so yeah, you go back and he has a cannon and also shoots the disease blobs at you. Yeah.
Yeah, I just ran from that person after I went and grabbed the thing because I tried to do damage and they killed me a couple of times. I was like, all right, you know what? I'm not even messing with this. Maybe I'll come back later. I don't know if I can or not, but
you end up getting a power up from him.
Oh, son of a.
Yeah, so you get a power up from him, and then there's another enemy that I fought after I got, after I rode the elevator.
Okay. Yep.
And that's about where I stopped at. So, those are the two games that are on my radar.
The more you guys talk about Beacon Pines, I don't know if it's a real game sometimes. You
Why?
gotta go over here, defeat the blob, then there's a blood moon, and then there's
No,
a
that's
hound.
no.
That was back into Ghost Song.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Oh, that's funny.
I thought this was Beacon Pines the entire time.
Yeah, but so yeah, going back to Beacon Pines, I mean, when you have to do the team deathmatch as well. I'm just kidding.
Kyle just spams I need healing the entire time, and I don't know what the hell's going on.
So yeah, Ghost Song and Beacon Pines. Those have been the kind of two indie titles that we've been diving into lately.
I played
Road 90.
I played Settlement Survivor the other day on stream. It's a lot of fun. That's right. Yeah. That game's
talk about that.
Yeah, so it's I thought it'd be more SimCity-ish, which it is not actually. It's more along the lines of Tropico. For those Tropico is you're basically a dictator on an island and you take care of the island and stuff. Whereas in Settlement Survivor, you get a small little settlement and it's and you take care of your people. They have set happiness. The happier they are, the better they work, and everything. It's almost like I don't know how to explain it, except like everyone has to have a job. Like every little villager you have has to have a job, and you have to help improve their happiness, basically, and make them go through basically civilization type progression.
Is this the game where they had like natural disasters destroying your settlement? Okay. Secondly, it sounds a lot like Black and White. I don't know if you played that.
Yes, wow. That's it's like that
without the godlike
god
aspect. Yep. Yeah, which I mean, technically, you are the god of the game. Sounds like in this, if you're you're the overlord of everybody in the game itself. So it is. so it is. It is similar to that then. Okay.
Everybody has a name. When they start having babies, they grow up.
Can you give them names?
I don't know,
because that would make for a fun stream. I'm
gonna see if you can. I don't know how. So even though I played on stream, I don't know how it translates to very well on stream, because not a lot happens and then everything happens. Like it's just one of those things where a bunch of nothing happens for a long period of time.
Okay. That sounds rather interesting. Well,
I
don't know if I'll pick that up, but that does sound interesting.
Well, if you like those kinds of games, I think you generally understand. Like
you like games where nothing happens and then everything happens. I've got the game for you.
Because like I don't know if you guys like play Civilization before or anything like that. Like Civilization is one of those games where nothing happens for an extended period of time, and then just craziness happens at some point.
Yeah, I've never gotten into Civilization, unfortunately, because I feel like I'm missing something.
Yeah, Civilization's great.
It's amazing.
That's a PC game. You don't play that.
It's on other systems too. There was even Civ Rev on the. I still have a disc copy, I believe, of Civ 2 or Civ 3 from when I had a PC that played what they called discs back when I was your age.
Okay. All right, you got me there. But okay, so cool. Settlement Survivor. That is a game that I probably won't pick up, but it sounds cool. You have to stream it more. I would like to watch it because I missed out on that stream, which is again something that we've been doing, and yeah, it's something that we've been doing. There's been a Nintendo Direct. I know Phil wants to hear about this. There's a Nintendo Direct this past week. I'm just briefly going to touch on a couple of the games that were mentioned on it. I don't know if you watched any of it, Phil. I kind of Carrington, not Phil. Carrington. Sorry. I'm I'm gonna briefly just touch on these couple games, except for the very last game, which I think we will all appreciate.
Is me raising my hand?
No, you can't, because there's a game on here I know you're gonna like.
Yeah, but this is normally the part of the podcast when Nintendo starts talking that I grab one of these things over here.
A beer? Oh.
And I just start reading.
I'm gonna go through this real quick here. Real quick. All right. So I don't know if you played Celeste, Phil, but Celeste is one of our favorite games. That's been on, well, it was on Real Dudes podcast before, but Pepper Grinder is a game coming out by Devolver Digital, or Digital Devolver Digital. The double D.
At least you know the name of your own podcast.
Yes. Yeah. It's a digging action side-scrolling platformer game. It's weird, but it looks
scrolling action platform.
Okay. It reminded me a lot of Celeste with some more action in it, and it's I wrote down tricky puzzles in an island. So it's the thing of it is it reminds me like Celeste, and I feel like we're due for another game that is like Celeste, because it's been a while since we've had a good platformer as good as Celeste, in my opinion.
You mentioned
that includes
you asked me if our
Sonic Mania, because Sonic Mania is not a good platform.
Hey now, hey.
I'm just kidding.
You get me on the show and all of a sudden everybody takes off their gloves and just starts throwing haymakers.
I'm just playing.
How you had asked me earlier today, like a game that made me cry. That reminded me, like Celeste was one of those games that made me cry. Okay. But it was tears of happiness.
Right. The game does again, another game that goes into dark places.
Oh yeah,
and also tells a really, really good story. Coffee Talk 2 or episode 2 is coming out. The biggest thing that I pulled from the trailer on that was that a cat was at the coffee shop getting coffee, like a normal sized cat. So if you've played the first Coffee Talk, you're a barista at a late night coffee shop and you're talking to fantasy characters, so elves, orcs, the whole 9 yards in a modern day environment. Rogue Legacy 2 is out today. Didn't play the first one, just thought it was nice. It's a new game that's out today.
Legacy 1 is really
and this game looked fun. I have not played the first one, so I can't speak to it. But the biggest thing, the showcase closed with Sports Story.
I'm in. And
so if you've played Golf Story, you'll know I have not met anybody that has played it that has not liked it. No one.
Wait. I've also met Phil's here, and you didn't mention WrestleQuest?
Well,
that's not out until May, though.
Okay.
There's other reasons why I didn't mention that.
Yeah, I was gonna point that out too.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because I saw the game. I saw the trailer of it tonight.
Super stoked for it until I found out what I found out, and I was like, God, I don't want to give this thing any money, but I probably will.
Yeah, it looks really good. It looks fantastic.
It does. It looks awesome.
But Sports Quest, or Sports Quest, I'm mixing the two together. Sports Story is the sequel to Golf Story. If you have not played Golf Story on the Nintendo Switch, do yourself a favor and pick that game up
right now,
because this game is right now. Do it. What are you waiting for?
It's on sale all the time for like $7 too on the eShop, and it's
worth every bit of 20. Honestly, it's worth every bit of 60. I would pay 60 for it if I knew what it was when it first released.
It's one of two games that make me not regret owning a Switch.
Yeah, I don't think you can get it anywhere else. Can you?
I don't think so.
No, otherwise I wouldn't own a Switch.
That's a good point. But so aside from golf, this game has tennis, soccer, golf with mini golf, BMX, and more. And you've got dungeon exploring, and I believe there is a part in the trailer where you're hiding from soldiers. So I don't know. It goes in like this whole espionage thing as well.
I'm in.
But I'm totally in for it. It comes out next month, and I feel like it's going to make maybe one of my favorite games this year. If it's anything like the first game, it's going to be a game that's well worth picking up, and I cannot recommend it enough to anyone or everyone. I recommend it. I don't know. I'm homeschooled. Anyways.
I didn't even have to say it.
Yeah. So that really is just about it as far as gaming news. You all right there? All right.
Don't get COVID.
It sucks. And you coughed. It's like, yeah. And don't cough in the microphone. You're gonna spread it everywhere.
Viruses come through the internet. I've learned that.
They do.
I wanted to chat briefly because it's been a while since we kind of done like this off-topic thing. It was a big thing with Real Dudes podcast that we just had a banter discussion. about something in particular. And Phil, you already answered the question earlier.
I didn't even see that it was a question until I scrolled down on the notes and I
There
went,
you
"Oh
go.
crap!" I kind of answered that already.
There you go. But I'm gonna have a counter argument to you to this point. So what's
Is it going to be a short argument?
What's more important in gaming, story or action? Let's hear Carrington's side first.
That's a very good. You know what? I'll say for me, it'll be story, only because I've played games with good stories and bad gameplay, and I still love them.
But you've never played.
I feel the same way about bad story and great gameplay.
Yeah,
true. A game that immediately comes to mind for me is Mass Effect 1. The gameplay on that is terrible. It's awful. And if you have played the Mass Effect trilogy and you play 2 and 3, you see why. Because Mass Effect 1 is awful when it comes to its gameplay. But the story is absolutely incredible. And playing it on the remake or the anniversary edition, whatever you want to call it, they did improve the gameplay for Mass Effect 1 a lot, but it's still not great. But you give me a good story, I will trudge through the bad gameplay.
Okay. Phil? You already answered it.
Well, the two go hand in hand, definitely to an extent as well. Like I can't play something. I shouldn't say I can't, but it's not as easy to play something with an absolute garbage story that makes no sense, even with great controls. Like if they're attempting to feed me a story and they're not being kind of tongue in cheek about it, and or like if they're trying to present a super serious story that's just poorly written and garbage, even if the gameplay is tight as hell, I'm gonna back off. Case in example, Resident Evil 6. Gameplay is okay, story's absolute hot mess. But again, I go back to my younger days of gaming because I'm a little bit older than both of you guys. When I gamed on the Atari, and I gamed all my gaming happened on the Atari and the NES, where like you played Super Mario Brothers and there was really no story except you were chasing a princess.
Right.
But that gameplay was so spot on that you just kept going back and back and back and back. Same thing with even the original Legend of Zelda, even the first Sonic the Hedgehog, like all of those things. Like they didn't have huge story elements that were pulling you through the game. But the gameplay was innovative and unique enough that you kept going because you wanted to see what the next world, the next land, the next level was. You didn't really care about the princess in the end of all of it because she wasn't there anyways. But the gameplay just kept you going.
And she was not kidnapped. Like, really, take better care of yourself.
Yeah, hire a bodyguard for the love of God.
Buy some pepper spray.
Give Mario $100 a week to protect you, since he's coming and saving your ass every single time you get saved kidnapped anyways. Like just pay him.
Just do it.
And he's collecting all this side coin money anyways, so he's gonna be halfway rich even before your paycheck. You don't have to kick him that much.
And he can fix your toilet.
Yeah.
On the side.
A decent plumber.
Yeah. I guess we never find that out.
How much plumbing is in a castle though?
Depends. What year is the castle built?
That's also a good question.
1986.
Then hopefully it's got decent plumbing.
Quite a bit of plumbing. Just a manhole. I am on the side of story is more important to me.
Yeah, Nintendo lovers.
No. This is even before Nintendo. I mean, honestly, would you even say like say Nintendo, like Breath of the Wild? It has like a story, but is it like a super engrossed? Like, am I super engrossed in the story or more the gameplay itself?
The gameplay does take over for a game like that.
Right. The story.
I'll even throw Gears of War out there in the same vein. Like, is anybody in the entire world playing Gears of War for this story?
No,
it's because that gameplay is super tight.
For me, two of the most obviously my two favorite games. One, What Remains of Edith Finch. It's just a story. That's all it is. It's a big inside.
Yep.
which has action. It's not really action. You're just running away from things constantly. And I feel like that game leaves you to make up the story in your head because it doesn't really explain what's going on.
Anything. But the gameplay is super tight.
Right. The gameplay is incredibly tight.
And graphically, it's sexy as hell.
It is.
Ominous music. Like everything about that just hits all the right notes for what you need of a heavy gameplay, no story game.
Right.
Where
Right.
Edith Finch, to your point, is heavy story, beautifully told, very emotional, but gameplay is
It's not there.
It's there,
Yeah,
but it's nothing incredible or groundbreaking.
it's literally it's a walking sim. And I mean, same goes with like Firewatch and any other walking sim. There was another one that
Don't get Mike started.
Summerland from Connor.
Summerland, and then what is the one where you are? Oh, it came out years ago. It was kind of touched more on the X-Files. Yes. I can't remember what it's called. But to me, story and look at Beacon Pines. What's the gameplay in that? There isn't.
No, there's not.
It's decision making and it's storytelling, and it draws you in heavily into the game. Now, if Beacon Pines lasted 20 hours, that I feel like that'd be a long 20 hours. Games like
long 20 hours.
Games that rely heavy on story.
They tend to be shorter.
Right.
Okay, counterpoint to that is Red Dead.
Oh, I was gonna say Persona 5 though as well.
Persona 5 is a JP.
Nobody has any idea what the hell that means.
It's a JRPG, and we all know that all JRPGs go into some weird story that make no sense at all.
Kind of like Metal Gear. Like, nobody makes any sense of what goes on in any of the Metal Gear games, but the gameplay is tight enough that people keep coming back for them.
The action carries the game. Very much so.
And then you sit there and watch 45 minutes worth of cutscene after you have 15 minutes worth of gameplay and wonder what the hell is going on.
I will say, though, Death Stranding, that is all story, basically, with some gameplay,
with a lot of walking.
I did.
Yeah, it's a walking simulator.
I love that game. That game was incredible. Good God.
Right. I mean, look at NASCAR 95. Like, that relies heavily on... I don't know.
I almost reached for a cigarette and lit up on your podcast and on video here after the NASCAR 95 comment. But I'm just going to keep on sipping.
You know what's crazy? I just found this out recently, okay? And this is related to NASCAR. Recently, this is crazy.
Here's a random fact. A lot of NASCAR drivers are based out of Ohio.
Wouldn't surprise me. There's nothing to do here. No, but there was a NASCAR driver. He recently slammed his car against the wall so he could go faster. Oh, did you see that? And he did it because
I showed you guys.
It was you.
I give you guys everything that you have, and what do you give me in return? Nothing. I'm taking the company.
As long as we get the blue Twitter stamp.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fine. I'll pay for that $8 a month. And that's between the two of you.
I guess we could split that. We could be Twitter.
We could be Twitter.
We could change the Twitter or the podcast name to Elon Musk.
Yeah, I thought about it.
That's funny.
Or we could parody Gamerheads podcast.
Hey.
No, Carrington says hey.
Yeah, exactly. I own that now. I have copyrighted hey.
The podcast is now named Hey. Hey Gaming. Oh, that's a good company name. Anyways, so that's it. That's all I've got for this week. Story, in my opinion, is more important than action. Carrington, I believe you said story is more important than action. Phil, I think you stand on the opposite side.
I think they're both needed,
right?
In order for it to be like what's considered an A+, a 10, or whatever you want to call it type of game. But I've played a lot of games with no story for a long period of time.
Right. Well, you think of the games that you spend a lot of time.
Rocket League,
like Overwatch, Fortnite, Rocket League, all those mega games where people dump hundreds, like Call of Duties, all that, dump hundreds and hundreds of hours into it. What's the story behind it? There's not a big story.
Granted, the most memorable gaming experiences that I have, with the exception of, and I hate to give you guys any kind of a love, is our late nights playing together of like Overwatch and that kind of stuff. The most memorable moments I have are those big moments of your Red Dead 2s, your BioShocks, and your huge plot twists. Like, those are the ones that stick with me, but those are also games that the gameplay is so tight in those games as well, where they feed off of each other, where they're both needed.
Right.
But I can't play something with a garbage story, or a good story with trash gameplay for multiple times, multiple hours, where I can sit there and I can spend multiple days, multiple months in some cases with something with really tight gameplay and almost non-existent story.
Yes. Yeah, like NASCAR 95.
I still might own that.
You probably do. Oh well. All right. Well, I think that's it for the week. I don't know. Do you have anything else, Carrington, you want to add?
No. Go play Persona 5. It's amazing.
Why? I'm ended now.
Can I say the thing?
The thing?
Yeah, can I say the thing on the way out?
What's the thing? Oh yes, hold on. Let me get there. I'll point to the camera and you can go ahead and go with it. So we have been. I've had some problems with recording this week. Some technical issues that happened again last night.
Really?
And I'm really upset with it. Yeah, I've recorded twice this week and something has happened with my video, so I have to figure it out. So I apologize for the lack of YouTube content coming out lately, but Carrington has been streaming like a madman on Twitch. So if you're not following us on Twitch, if you're not following us on YouTube, please head on over, subscribe, do the whole shebang over on those outlets. And you can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, anywhere social media at K&Ks Indie Gaming. Phil,
Mastodon?
I downloaded it.
I did download it as well.
Did you really?
I did. Yeah. Not there yet. But yeah, and Phil, thank you so much for hopping on here with us.
I love talking to you guys. You guys know this. Anytime you guys want me to come on and talk to you, I'm more than down for it. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to be my normal jerk self. But again, it's all in good fun, as we can see by everybody's facial reactions.
And
it's just our relationship.
That is why we love you. Where can people find you on the interwebs, and where can they hear you in their ear holes?
You can find me on the interwebs for your eye holes at BNow23 on the Twitter, which I don't use as often as I should. You can hear me in your ear holes on Gamerheads podcast with my fellow co-hosts Roger Reichert and Mike Ryan, who are two lovely and adorable human beings as well. I think that's all I've got going these days because that other thing ended. But yeah,
I can vouch for you. You guys are my Saturday morning errand chore entertainment.
Is that because we're a chore for your ears as well as while you're doing chores with your body?
No, I wasn't going to say that at all. I was not going to say that at all. Not at all. Carrington, where can people find you on the interwebs? Anywhere?
Yeah, at DesertFear90 on the good old Twitters, and sometimes I stream on my personal channel, /DesertFury, and on Twitch, but it's not as often over there.
Okay, very cool. And yeah, so take it away, Phil.
Well, wait a minute. Where can people find you?
Oh, that's not important. You can find me on Twitter at Kyle Federline, and I don't know, that's my most social outlet. So yeah, just Twitter, Kyle Federline, and I've been working with Instagram and TikTok as well, but that's through the K&Ks Indie Gaming. So if you want to connect, you can DM on there, chat. If you are a game dev, and I completely apologize, Carrington brought it to my attention recently. If you are trying to DM us on Twitter, continue to do so. I've missed some DMs. We get kind of flooded with DMs on there, so I apologize. The best way to get a hold of us is through our email. So game devs, people, anybody that wants to come on for an interview, email us at podcast@kkindiegaming.com, and that's it. So take it away, Phil.
Well, I was looking for a pink slip to fire you for dropping the ball on some interviews that were happening. But outside of that, we thank you guys all for listening, especially Kyle and Carrington, because this is their show. And as always, have a rad day.
Boom!
That was good. Thanks, Phil.
Thank you, guys.